I'm going to be making a video. I've been studying all day today since like 10 o'clock in the morning. It's already almost 4 o'clock, it's about 3:30. So I've just been watching videos pretty much all day on how to do the clinicals test. And this clinicals, which is this Sunday. It's all the way, it's a 40-minute drive. My mother's sister twin is taking me there, and hopefully I'm going to pass. I cannot afford, I get 3 chances, I cannot afford to take the exam again. I mean, it's draining me of any financial money, because I need to save any money I have for my next class, and then I'm going to take a big break to start working and get experience and figure out what my next steps are going to be. But I'm not going to go for an LVN until the late next year or the beginning of 2028, because I got to get situated with a lot of things. But this is kind of sort of like a mini exam, just kind of going to go over. I really feel that I feel very nervous because I don't feel like I'm going to do good at all. Compared to what I've been, from what the book has told me and from what this videos has shown me, the class that I was taking, and I could never explain this enough, where the teachers and some of the students, not all the students, but some of the students were intentionally sabotaging me. Like, I'd say, oh, how many towels do I need to get? 4. Oh, no, 3. Oh, no, what do you, oh, for bedpan? No, you get 2. And so it was like, well, what the fuck? I was like, I'm like, well, 3, 2, what the heck? So I'm doing my best that I can. I cannot explain, like, it was so poorly done in this class, and I know why. It's because not to pass, to make it as difficult as I can, and not to be successful in my life with any degree, and this is a simple CNA class. CNA and patient care technician, those are like the 2 lowest of all classes you could take in the medical field. That's the lowest. That's the simplest stuff that it can get. Okay, so whenever they ask for washing hands, they want us to obviously we have to be careful with what we touch because of bacteria. So they want us to get paper towels, turn on the faucets, throw the paper towel away because my hands are not touching to the faucets. Rinse my hands, get soap, rinse my wrist, the palms of my hand. This is one of the absolute most important steps because I have to do this step on all 3 skills. And when I get soap, rinsing the top, the bottom, I got to get the underneath the nails by using the surface of my hand, right, and the thumb to get dirt underneath the nails. And I'm going to wash between fingers, right? And you have to wash your hands regardless for at least 20 seconds. You're going to wash each finger like this, each individual finger. Then wash the fingernails. I mean, just make sure that I think they call it cuticles. So I'm going to wash the fingertips, nails, right? Like this. Hands repeatedly. Like this for count to 20 seconds. Do this every time I wash my hands. Okay? Rinse off make sure my hands don't touch any of the surface of the sink. Make sure my hands are elevated downwards. My fingers are pointing downwards so that I don't make any splashes. Soap and rinse, not to do this. And let the water rinse out. And then get paper towels. Try not to touch anything. Get the paper towels, dry off my hands, each finger, the fingertips really well, the wrist and everything. Then use the same, then throw the paper towel, get some more paper towel, make sure it's dry again. Turn off the faucet with the paper towel and then turn off, and my hands are clean. That is the most important step, okay? I don't know what 3 skills they're going to ask, but there's 21 skills, 21 different skills that they're going to have me do, okay? It says here hand washing. I don't, to my understanding, hand washing skills is not going to be a single step by itself. I think that that's just to say that, because I have to wash my hands and all the other procedures, like whether I'm changing the bedpan, or doing a peri-care or a calf care or a partial bed bath. But they're going to choose just roughly about 20 of these and randomly. So I don't know who's going to be there. I just know that when I get there, they give me an exam number, say what time my exam is, get the paperwork sorted out. The whole thing is supposed to last like 30 minutes. So I got to do all 3 skills in one session. So I go in there, the CNA evaluator, which is like the teacher, is going to basically sit at a chair and then watch what we're doing. I walk in with a CNA. I don't know who that CNA is going to be. It's just a random person that's there. And then they either perform first or I perform first. I'm hoping they perform first because then I can watch them and I'll get to do that at least, so that I can at least make sure I can try to pass. This is going to be very difficult because I don't know which 3 they're going to choose from. And the thing is that if they choose 3 skills for me to do, one of them is at least going to be a measuring skill, which means something that causes me, something that I have to do, that I have to count either the number of times a person breathes or the number of times their pulse is in a minute, or the number of times they breathe, like I said, respirations in 1 minute. And then the other measurement tool they could possibly pick up is emptying the urinary bag, which I empty the urinary bag in a measuring cup, graduated cup, and then I read the number, and then I write it down on a piece of paper, and then I say skill complete, or it's going to be one of those 3. I think there's also another measuring one, which is height or something like a weight, which is very weird because I was like, I looked online and it said there's 5 of them, and there's only 3 that I'm aware of. So this is what's very sketchy about this, because I'm going through these videos like crazy. So anyway, hopefully they gave me maybe like the urinary one, because that one seems pretty simple. What happens is I walk into a room and I go in there and I'll wash my hands, and I'm always going to wear gloves. You don't have to wear gloves on some of them, but I'm going to wear gloves on all the procedures just to be safe. And I don't know how it gets graded. I don't know if we get deducted points if we wear gloves when we don't have to, but I'm going to, just to make sure, because it's just that much more contaminated free and more of a safe procedure. To my understanding, when I watched this video of these 2 subscribers on YouTube, the teacher said that those are the 2 that we're supposed to be going over, and they said that as long to be the most successful that you can be with any of this to pass the test is to make sure is how you talk to them, to make sure they feel comfortable. You give them dignity, like how you doing, you address yourself, you tell them, you secure the bed to make sure that the wheels are locked. You make sure that you lower the bed to a safe position. A lowering bed is always a safe position. A higher bed is where the normal position is, which when you hire the position is when you complete the position. But anyway, so this is kind of really confusing to me as well, because I check the bed, I go over, introduce myself, how you doing, let me know if anything hurts, anything's bothering you, is there anything else I can get you, and it's going to be a mannequin, or it's either going to be a mannequin or the other CNA, right? So then I get my measuring cup, I get my chuck pad or a towel, and that's the thing that I don't even know. I don't know if they're going to be using chuck pads or towels. It seems to me very jaded with this information, because you should already know whether they're going to use chuck pads or towels, but obviously it seems to me that it's the option of whatever they want there. So I have to wait till I get there whether they're going to use chuck pads or towels. So chuck pads are the medical best term to do it with, right? So chuck pads is a little pad, you know, for those that know what that is. I place it on the ground. I make sure that I get my cup, I put it underneath the pee bag, the urinary bag, I empty it out. I've already raised the bed so I can see what's kind of going on. And then I go ahead and once I get done with that, I close the urinary bag, take it to the sink, place it on a flat surface, measure it, see what it is, empty the contents into the toilet, turn on the faucet, put water in it, close it, turn it off, the water, and make sure that I rinse it out, then dump the water out. I go over to write down what I need, and then I go back to the bed, and then I lower the bed in a safe position, put the call light, obviously, privacy curtain, whether they want to open. I give them a choice, so I give the patient a choice, whether, because it gives them dignity, right? Because it's part of the procedures, right? Policies. So giving them an option is something that they always want. We're supposed to address to them. So if they want their curtains open or closed, and then I'll say, okay, you know, they want it open, whatever, and then I say skill complete, right? I'll go wash my hands again, and then I say skill complete. The thing that is so confusing about me, because there's all these skills that I'm going to do, they're going to choose 3 out of the 20, is if I wash my hands too many times, like I wash my hands before, obviously when I walk in, then I get the supplies and I get finished. When I go to the sink and get done with that, do I wash my hands again? That's what I'm going to do. And then I go to the desk and do everything I need to do, put the supplies back in, go to the patient desk, and then address them, lower their bed, shower curtains, call light, and then I go wash my hands again, and then I, you know, leave. I don't know if we get deducted points if we grab too many towels, or we don't get enough towels, you know, or we wash our hands too many times. So I don't know how they're grading this, because many of these, catheter care, it requires 6 towels. If I get 5 towels and I'm cleaning the person, I forgot one, and I'm like, oh no, I have to correct myself. I'm going to go correct myself. I need to get another towel. Do I get deducted for that? To my understanding, I don't, because I corrected myself, and then it's fixed. But if I don't and I forget, do I get deducted because I didn't get an extra towel of some kind? And but to my understanding, the most procedures, like even when I took the test over at the exam office, they told me that the most important thing obviously is just to wash your hands, and I was told that it's pretty simple and easy. But like I said, I don't know how hard they're grading. I feel very nervous that I'm not going to pass it. I feel, because I don't know what to expect. This is not like I go to a computer and take a test. Like, this is, besides people hacking into accounts and changing questions, which I don't know what they could be doing. Like, I don't know how much this person's going to hate me. I don't know what this person is going to be like. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if I'm going to have a fair chance. I don't know if they're just going to sabotage me and then make me spend another $89 and make it a very big hassle because they don't want me to go into school, and I'm very sad that I wasn't able to pass it, and then I have to figure out another way to get there. And the thing is if I don't pass it this time, I looked at the schedule when I could take the next test, and I don't even think it's not going to be available until September. So if I don't pass it, this exam, I may have to take the exam again, and I have to wait a whole month. So what am I going to do for a whole month? I have classes supposed to start September 1st, or it's sometime in September. I don't have the leisure of time to be doing this. I have to pass it the first time. I want to pass this whole skills on this mannequin, on this person, that I was successful on this person. There was nothing wrong with what I did. I approach this bed, I take care of what I need to do with the skill, and I didn't fail it. And I'm good. Everything's okay, and nothing was wrong. So that's the main goal, because I cannot afford, it's $89 for me to be able to take this test again, but it's just not that. I have to wait a whole month. I'm probably going to have to wait at least a whole month, maybe 3 weeks, to then take the test again. because all this, for some mysterious reason, all the scheduling bookings are all filled up. And but like, I'm going through this, so that's one of the things that I'm praying that I'm hoping that I'm going to get some really simple, easier ones that get picked out for me, range of motion. That's a very easy one. That's a pretty simple one, but I don't know, in the range of motion, for those that know, we'll do 3 times for each one. So we're working the wrist. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, and then we go 1, 2, 3, and then we do, I think it's 1, 2, and then 3. And then I don't know if like we do 3 of the elbows, there's just 3 elbows. It's just like you lift like this for the elbow, or the shoulder is from laying on the ground to all the way up. You do that 3 times. And then the shoulder, which is like 1, 2, and then 3. Or the hip, which is where you pick up the knee and pick up the heel, and you do this, where you're laying in bed, right? You do that 3 times. But I don't know if if we have to do all the range of motions, because it's very confusing. When the teacher was explaining this to us, they was telling us so confusing and so jaded to just fucking fuck everything up. And like when we were there, like we were doing the procedures in class, they told us, well, when you go to the real exam test, they're only going to make you do 1 foot. Like if you have to do like a foot cleaning, how do you do a foot cleaning on a patient? Well, all you have to do is 1 foot, but here we're just going to do both, so you get the whole idea of it. And there's no reason. It's very confusing because, it's just the way this person was explaining. Let me tell you, I scored a high grade on the academic test. There's really no reason why I don't believe that I should pass this, be successful at this exam. I made straight A's. I made a B plus. I made a B on one of the sections of the academics. All the other tests, I made an A, and on one of the sections, I made 100 on there, okay? That's how good I made a grade on this. I know that if I show up to this place and they're not wanting to help, fail me, then, they're just making this very difficult when it shouldn't be. But, you have to, and like if I do a foot cleaning, I got to make sure I get the right number of towels, and I can't look at my notes like, oh, how many towels do I get? How many? It's hard to remember that I get 2 large towels and 3 small towels, and it's, like I get 3 small towels or 2 large towels. A partial bed bath is 6 towels and 3 large towels. And I was like, I got to remember all these different things, like back motions and stuff. So I'm hoping I'm going to get some more of the simple ones. I'm hoping I get like, range of motion. It's kind of still sketchy for me. A foot care, that's going to be, hopefully pretty easy. A urinary bag measurement, that's going to be pretty easy. So I'm hoping I get that. I have to say out loud what I'm doing. So when I say, okay, bag is below the bladder, tube is not kinked, bag is not on the floor, and it's on the frame of the bed, and I should be good. And I get my measuring cup, I got my towel or my chuck pad. The same thing like brushing teeth. Brushing teeth is pretty simple. I don't know if they'll choose more. They could choose more than one measuring skill, which maybe they could do aspirations and urine, so I have to do both. What I'm hoping is I hope, they said it's not common, but I could end up getting the same skilled test that the other CNA's doing. So if the CNA goes before me, which I'm hoping for, if they get whatever, they get chosen to do empty urinary bag, and then I can watch them do it, and then I know that at least I can go and be that much prepared for it. got to be careful too because they may fail too. But like the catheter care, there's all kinds of, there's, like I said, there's 20 of them. There's the changing in position, which is pretty simple as well. You put the pillow, you kink it, to the back. They're on their side. You put a pillow between their legs and their knees that support the ankles and knees, and you give them a pillow to hug to help support their arm. And you make sure that everything's okay. I'm going to wear gloves and everything, and that's the name for number one thing: washing my hands and wearing gloves, making sure it's easy to remember. Because some of them you don't have to, I don't think you have to raise the bed or not, but I'm going to. I'm going to make sure that the bed is elevated and the bed is lower elevated at all given times when I do this, so that I know it's secure. The curtains are given privacy, or if they, at all given times, just to make sure. But I feel very nervous because it's a lot of information to not know, okay, you're going to choose 3, and, I really wish they would have been able to, when we're going over the clinicals part, that it was a lot more simple and well explained, and it wasn't. You just know whenever people don't want you to learn. You know when a teacher or someone doesn't want you to learn. You can feel that, you know how they speak to you, and that's exactly what was going on. So that's kind of what the situation is. I'm hoping I do really good. I don't know really what to expect. At this moment, I feel very sketchy, like I'm not going to be able to pass. I'm going to try my best, but like I said, I don't know how they grade it. So if, let's just say I do a foot cleaning, right? Well, if I do a foot cleaning and lotion, 2 large towels, I have to make sure I put a towel on the floor. I have to make sure that there's an extra towel that I have for drying, right? So I'm going to have a small towel, I have to get 3 small towels. The reason you get 3 is one is for rinsing one is using for soap, the other one is to rinse off the soap, and the other one is to dry. So that's what I'm going to do. So, and you have to also get lotion. You have to make sure the lotion is not between the toes, because it can cause all kinds of tissue to get really soft. Bacteria builds up as well. And so I put, wash the foot. I have to make sure that the foot is soaked in for at least 5 minutes, which I won't actually be doing for 5 minutes, but it's just like, okay, I'm going to soak it in here for 5 minutes. I say, okay, it's been 5 minutes. So I have to, not only that, but this entire test and each skill is required an estimated time that you have to do. Like it takes you 12 minutes to do a foot cleaning. It takes you 8 to 11 minutes to reposition a patient position to a support side lying position. So it's very sketchy. I feel like even when I'm going through all these videos, I feel like I'm going to fail. Like I'm trying to think that, okay, I'm going to pass, but I don't know how they're grading it. I don't have any idea what they're going to choose, what they're picking out of. And I have to make sure that when I approach this patient and I approach this mannequin, either or, that I do this successfully and I do not forget the steps that I need to do. But like I said in this video, it says as long as you wash your hands, that's the number one thing you do. As long as you indirect care, which is, is there anything I can get you? Make sure you put the call light on. Make sure that the bed is lowered and higher. Make sure the curtains are for privacy when you're doing it. Make sure they're closed whenever you leave. Make sure that the bed is locked, and make sure you address any discomfort they have. Let me know if anything hurts while I'm performing this procedure. Let me know if anything bothers you. I'm here to help. I'll stop right away and get the nurse if I need to help you. And that's sort of addressing the person, that they're okay. And that's the most important, is washing hands and indirect care to make sure that safety is that everything I'm doing is in safety, and everything I'm doing is in safety, and the options that you give a person. Make sure that they're, ask if they feel any pain, then give them some option whether they want the curtain open or closed. So they're deducting and taking points from this, but I don't know really what to expect, and I'm studying like crazy. So the nail, that's a pretty easy one. So we don't actually clip nails. So you get two large towels. You dip the hand. Once you dip the hand out of the water, um, you because it loosens up the dirt. Get the towel, rinse off. Put a bunch of soap on the towel. Wash the hands. Put the towel on the side of the basin, which is the tub, a little plastic tub. Get another towel, rinse the water, right? Take off the soap. Then get another towel, dry the hands. Once the hands are dried, make sure I go through the fingers and all that. And then whenever that is all dry, get lotion. And, I'm sorry. Once the hands are inside the bucket, I have to make sure I have to use a toothpick, and basically I just scrape anything underneath the nails and I wipe it on the chuck tail, on the towel, and then when that is complete, I also have to do nail filing. So I'll just quick do a nail file on each side going toward the center, and do that all with hands. And when that is complete, so then I would go ahead and do the soap, right? Because that's the thing is that, okay, so when you wash your hands in the soap, everything's flexed out, right? Yeah. So after that, then I do that, and you don't ever want to put your hands back into the tub. That's what I was told. Or that's what it says in the video. You don't want to put your hands back in the tub. So after you remove the dirt from the fingernails, put soap, with the towel, then use the towel for water. And I feel like somebody shot something in my brain. This is so fucked up right now. Just a few seconds ago, and I heard somebody just close the door. I just felt like a small burst of a headache. And this is what's so terrifying. Is that someone in this fucking room is shooting me with an electronic device, and I'm explaining material I'm supposed to learn, and they're just shooting something into my brain while I'm trying to pass the test. They could be doing this while I'm trying to take the test, and they're going to continue doing this. This is why nothing's legitimate. I've taken 7 weeks of a whole college course of this, and they can sabotage me like that. And it's very frustrating. But so anyway, I file the nails in soap, water to dry the hands, and then I put lotion in my hands to warm up put lotion on both tops of the hands and not between the fingers, because you don't want lotion there, and then you're good. And I also have to make sure I have to check the temperature of the water myself, and then for them. So that's the thing I got to remember, is I got to do nail filing, and I got to do nail filing and remove the dirt underneath the nails. So I'm hoping I get the simplest ones. The bed lining, changing the bed linens, that's really easy. That's a pretty easy one. You gotta have the fitted sheets, the pillowcase, the regular sheet, the chuck pad, a privacy blanket, obviously. So see, that's very confusing, because you gotta use somebody shot me in my fucking head. I feel like I'm forgetting shit. So, yeah, I'm going to try my best. I don't even know what to say. I feel like somebody just shot me in my... I swear to fucking God, I just heard this guy down the street. What they do all day to me is they keep opening the door and closing the door, and it throws an electrical shock at me. I know my physical health really well. I should be able to pass this test very easily, very successfully, but it's... I got a whole long road of education I got to learn, and this is like the very beginning of any of this. So I know that even whenever I am, majority of it, almost all of it I'll remember when I do it on a patient. The only thing that I'm preoccupied about is that when you take the test, they watch for all these little details and whether I'll pass or not. But that's the main thing. When you're actually performing on, you may miss a couple steps. You know, nobody's perfect. But like I said, like when you wash your teeth, like when we were doing the denture clean, it's very confusing because the teacher absolutely was fucking flying colors, just fucking everything up. Like, I was like, where do you put the dentures? Oh no, you put the dentures here. Oh no, this is your sink, and we're using a fucking bucket for a fake sink. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And I literally went like this. I'm like, I need to pass this test. What are you doing? And it's very difficult because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, and all this shit is happening. So all I can do is watch these videos. I don't know. I know majority of this, you may miss a couple steps. A peri-care, that one's kind of somewhat easy. I remember that one pretty well. You know, you wipe, I gotta remember to wipe the butt. You know, there's 4 towels, you got gloves, and you got 6 small towels. When I watch this video, when we're doing the peri-care that we did was different from the peri-care that the person showed us how to do. It shows us on the video. Like you have, on a peri-care, you gotta wash downwards, right? And you got to go at the very hip and where the leg and the torso connect, and then you got to go right next to the vaginas, and then you got to do one swipe downward with the was it Libya, and you got to go downwards, right? And that's a peri-care. And you got to fold the towels, right, and get a clean surface every time. You got to put a towel underneath the bottom of the person to make sure the water doesn't go to the bed. You got to make sure that you know, each towel, small towel, is one's to wash soap, one's to put soap on there, one's to wash with the soap off, and then one's to dry it. And then you have to use the large towels. So with that, then you turn the person over, and from the buttocks toward the head, you wipe upward, and then one on each side of the butt cheek, and then that's it. And then you remove the towel. You have to make sure you throw the towel away, and you have your basin. So I don't know why we have 4 large towels, because you put one towel underneath the person, right? And then you have so that's, you put one towel underneath the person. So and then one towel would be for the table, because every time it says a towel, there has to be either a Chuck's pad or a towel. So I don't know what they're going to use, and this is what makes it so confusing. When we're going into a class, they say just use a Chuck pad. No reason why you shouldn't be using a towel. Like, why are you making us confused? Like, whether if or not. But anyway, every time that we have do a procedure, we have their feeding table. You know, the little tables they have at hospitals. You have to put a Chuck pad or a towel there. So regardless, there's always has to be an item there to prevent contamination. That towel will be placed there. So that's one underneath the person, and then there's 2 extra towels. So I don't know where the 2 extra towels are supposed to go. I don't know why they say 4 large towels. I think maybe two towels. And that's the thing, is that I don't even know, because the person that was in my class, one of the students, was like, oh no, 4, no 3. And he kept on fucking me up, and then I'd wait for the teacher to show up, and I'd say, how many towels did we get for peri-care? Oh, just 2. Oh, just 3. I'm like, what are you talking about? And the teacher was sabotaging me too. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna try. Hopefully, as long as I get to all the round off steps, hopefully I'm all successful in this. But like I said, my best shot right now is dressing. That's a simple one. You know, 2 shirts, 2 pants, give them an option. some socks and a privacy blanket. You know, you have to dress them while they're in bed. You have to put the blanket over them so that you roll the sheet all the way to the bottom, and then you dress them. You dress the person by a weaker arm, which is when you dress them. When you undress them, you take off the weaker arm. Like if they have an injured arm, you no, I'm sorry. If you have, if they're injured on one arm, like their right arm, then when you take off their clothes, you start off with the left arm, right? Because it's a strong arm, right? And then move the clothes over to their weaker arm, so when you go to the other side of the bed, it's a little easier to take off. They have their privacy blanket because you're not exposing them. And then you go to the other side, you take off their clothes, you know, whether sheet is still on top, throw it away, get their shirt, make sure you lift them up slightly, put their shirt back on, their button-up sleeve. You give them a choice, like, what would you like? You want to wear this, you want to wear that? And say, okay, you want to wear that. So we put the shirt on, lay him back down, then I go back to the foot of the bed. That's a pretty simple one. That's a pretty simple one. So I go to the foot of the board, put on their socks, then I put on their pants. I do that, sticking my hand underneath the blanket, and then that's how I do that. But it's very frustrating because, you know, they are doing it different, just slightly different from what I was told. But when I'm in the class, the teacher tells me, no, 3 towels. No, the student next to me that looked like my brother Frankie kept on telling me, and he goes, no, 3 towels, no 2. And then the next day I would show up to class, and I'm like, okay, and I'm taking notes thinking that I could trust my coworkers or students. And I'm like, okay, so on the nail care, how many towels did we get? 3 towels. No, 2. And I kept on fucking doing that shit. So the next day I'd ask him the same question and give me a different number. And you could tell by the way he was telling me, he was sabotaging me. Like, anyway, I'm going to keep studying. Hopefully I pass, because this is pretty nerve-wracking. They have too much control over me.